Hello, this is Mr. Gluckin, and this is a review for the Unit 2 quiz in astronomy. Now, I'm not going to be feeding you the answers here, but I will give you a good idea to where to find the answers to this quiz that's worth 15 points and is multiple choice and true-false. This quiz is due at the end of the day on Friday the 14th. So let's go ahead and get started here. Before we get started, though, I want to let you know what the schedule is for astronomy coming up next week. As you probably know, we had Unit 2 review questions that were due last Friday, and we are wrapping up Unit 2 today, and we're moving on to Unit 3 about the inner planets next week. There's no school on Monday next week for President's Day, and then we have 2 Class Connects, Tuesday and Thursday, and the Unit 3 review questions are due on a week from Friday. Now, you should read all of the lessons in Unit 3 by the end of the day, Tuesday, so you have some idea what we're talking about in class. So, last time, on Tuesday, we talked about the fate of the sun, what's happening to the sun now, and what's next. And today you're going to learn where to find answers to questions that are likely to be on the Unit 2 quiz. Not the answers exactly, but where to find them in the course at least. So let's get started. What are the 6 main regions or layers of the sun? So if you want to find the answer to that question, you should probably go to Lesson 2 in Unit 2. And that's where it talks about the structure of the sun, and as you scroll down, you'll find information about the different regions of the sun. So that's what we're looking for there. What is the series of steps involved in the sun's production of energy? So we're talking about how the sun creates energy. Look in this lesson right here, Unit 2, Lesson 3, Nuclear Fusion, and dig into some of the details about that process. And if you want, you can be taking notes during this, pause the recording and start it up again. So you have kind of a study guide for the test that's a closed book test, closed notes test, by the way. How many years is the sun's lifetime? So, let's go back. And you'll probably want to look in life cycle of the sun here, Lesson 4, or in Lesson 5, death of the sun is where you're going to find the answer to that question. Are sunspots hotter or cooler than other areas on the sun's surface? So, death of the sun and solar weather, that's where you'll find information about sunspots here. There's more here about the life cycle of the sun, and then solar weather and sunspots. How do solar flares affect the Earth? Now, solar flares come under the category of solar weather, and again, that is in Lesson 5 here. Death of the sun and solar weather are bundled together there. What are the positions of the sun, earth, and moon during a solar eclipse? And there is actually an entire lesson just about eclipses here. Lesson 6, dive into that. I can't emphasize enough, it's really important to read these lessons. You should spend 5 or 10 minutes at minimum reading and taking notes on the lessons so you know what we're talking about in class, and you'll do better on your test scores as well. What is a deuterium atom? Now, deuterium is an isotope of hydrogen. And if you want to learn about that, go into nuclear fusion here, lesson 3. And you'll learn what the deuterium atom is and what particles make it up, what's in the nucleus, and so on. What will occur when the sun runs out of hydrogen? Excuse me. So for this, there are a couple lessons that would apply to this, both life cycle of the sun and more specifically death of the sun here. So look in lessons 4 and 5. Get familiar with those to be able to answer that question. What happens when the sun runs out of hydrogen? Spoiler alert, it's pretty dramatic. How many planet Earths could fit inside the sun? Sorry about that, a typo there. How many planet Earths could fit inside the sun? And for that, you want to look in Structure of the Sun, lesson 2. And it talks about, there's a headline right there about that. So learn more right there. How many planet Earths could fit inside the sun? Why would you weigh a lot more on the sun, assuming you didn't just vaporize? And that would be in lesson 1, the overview here. And possibly Structure of the Sun. Read both of those. How old is the sun? For the answer to this, go into Life Cycle of the Sun. Lesson 4, possibly lesson 5 here. The sun itself is in an orbit around what? And take a look at the overview here. Lesson 1, and you'll learn about that. Oh, sorry about that. No, lesson 2, actually. Correction. Lesson 2 for that one. What is in the center of our solar system? Go to lesson 2 for that one as well. And honestly, that's something you should know already anyway. The sun consists mostly of what elements? The sun is mostly made of what elements? And for that, you should look in lesson 2, Structure of the Sun. How hot are solar flares? For the answer to this one, learn about solar weather here in lesson 5. It talks about solar flares. What are CMEs and what effects can they have? And again, you'll want to go into lesson 5, Death of the Sun and Solar Weather for that one. How does the sun produce energy? Probably have a pretty good idea where to find that by now. Look in lesson 3 for the answer to that. And finally, what is gravitational equilibrium? And for that, again, go into nuclear fusion, possibly Structure of the Sun for the answer to that question. Look in these two. Well, folks, that wraps things up for our quiz review. Remember, there's no school on Monday. This quiz is due on Friday the 14th. Looking ahead to next week, we're going to start learning about the inner planets. That's Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. And the Unit 3 review questions are due on Friday the 21st. Well, that's it for today. Be sure to email or call me if you have any questions, and good luck on that test. Bye-bye now.